Before we get to the story, I'd like to say thanks so much for visiting my new channel. I'm going to be uploading cosmic horror related stories every single day. So if that sounds good, please drop a like and don't forget to subscribe. It means a lot, especially when just getting started. I hope you enjoy the story. I never thought I'd end up working at a planetarium gift shop. 4 years of astronomy studies, a degree I could barely afford, and there I was, selling glow-in-the-dark star stickers to elementary school kids for $9 an hour. My student loans were drowning me. My girlfriend Amy kept hinting that maybe I should look into more stable career options, which was her polite way of saying I'd wasted my 20s studying something useless. Then Dr. Ellis Crane called. I didn't recognize the number, almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up that Tuesday afternoon while I was restocking the Mars rover keychains. Trevor Walsh. The voice was older, refined, with the kind of authority that came from decades in academia. Yeah, that's me. My name is Dr. Ellis Crane. I'm the director of the Clearwater Research Facility in Montana. I've been reviewing applications for a position we have available, and your academic record caught my attention. I nearly dropped the box of keychains. Nobody had called me about my academic record since graduation. Oh, okay. What kind of position? Observational astronomy. We have a celestial phenomenon that requires round-the-clock monitoring. The pay is $75,000 annually. I did the math in my head. That was more than triple what I was making. What's the catch? No catch. The work is straightforward, but demanding. You'd need to relocate to Montana. The facility is quite remote, about 3 hours from the nearest city. Room and board included, of course. 3 hours from civilization, monitoring some star. It sounded too good to be true, but I was desperate enough not to care. When would you need me to start? As soon as possible. This week, if you're available. I glanced around the gift shop, at the plastic planets hanging from the ceiling, at my manager who spent most of his time playing games on his phone. I'm available. Amy thought I was insane. We'd been together for 2 years, and she'd never seen me make a decision this fast. You don't even know what you're monitoring, she said, helping me pack my apartment. What if it's dangerous? What if this Dr. Crane is some kind of weirdo? It's an observatory, I said. What's he going to do? Bore me to death with star charts? You didn't even look up this facility online. I had actually. There was almost nothing about it. Just a single web page with a photo of an old stone building and a paragraph about private astronomical research. No social media, no reviews, no news articles. It should have worried me more than it did. The drive to Montana took 2 days. The facility was exactly where Crane said it would be. End of a dirt road surrounded by pine forest, not another building in sight. The observatory itself looked like it had been built in the 1950s and hadn't been updated since. Grey stone walls, a copper dome turned green with age, narrow windows that reminded me of arrow slits in a castle. Dr. Crane met me at the entrance. He was tall and thin, probably in his 60s, with white hair and glasses that magnified his eyes slightly. He shook my hand with a grip that was surprisingly strong. Trevor, excellent. Let me show you around. The facility was smaller than I expected. Just the main observation room, a few offices, a kitchen, and sleeping quarters for the staff. Crane introduced me to the other 3 people working there. Lisa, a woman in her 40s who barely made eye contact. Peter, a nervous-looking guy around my age, and Gordon, an older man who nodded at me once and then walked away without saying anything. Small team, Crane said, but we prefer it that way. Less complicated. He led me to the observation room. It was circular, dominated by a massive telescope in the center, the old-fashioned kind, all brass and thick glass lenses. No computer screens, no digital displays, just the telescope, a chair, and a small desk with a notebook and pen. "This is where you'll spend your nights," Crane said. "Your shift is from 9 in the evening until 5 in the morning. Your job is simple. Observe the star and document what you see." "Which star?" He adjusted the telescope, then stepped back and gestured for me to look. I put my eye to the lens. At first, I didn't see anything unusual, just a white point of light against the black, steady, unremarkable. "What am I looking at?" I asked. "That's what we're trying to determine," Crane said. "That star appeared 6 months ago, right there, in that exact position. The problem is, according to every star chart we have, according to decades of astronomical surveys, that region of space is empty. Nothing should be there." I pulled back from the telescope. "So it's a new star? A nova?" "No. Stars don't just appear, Trevor. They form over millions of years. And this one," he paused, choosing his words carefully. "This one is different. Every instrument we point at it shows something else. Infrared sees nothing. Radio telescopes detect silence. Only this telescope, this specific telescope, can see it clearly. We don't understand why." "What do you want me to document?" "Everything. When it changes brightness, when it moves, anything unusual. Just write down the time and what you observed." He tapped the notebook. "Keep it simple. We're not looking for scientific analysis, just your observations." That should have been my first warning, but I nodded, eager to prove I could handle it. My first night started at 9. Crane left me alone in the observation room with instructions to radio him if anything significant happened. The facility was silent except for the hum of old heating pipes and the occasional creak of the building settling. I sat down, positioned my eye at the telescope, and watched. For the first few hours, nothing happened. The star just sat there, a steady white point. I found myself getting drowsy, checking my watch every few minutes. At 11, I stood up to stretch, rolled my shoulders, sat back down. That's when I noticed the star was brighter. Not gradually brighter, like I'd watched it intensify, just brighter. Like someone had turned up a dimmer switch while I wasn't looking. I grabbed the radio. "Dr. Crane?" The star just got brighter. Static. Then his voice, sounding oddly strained. "Good. You're seeing it. Keep watching." I pressed my eye back to the telescope. Over the next hour, the star pulsed. Bright, then dim. Bright again. Dim. But there was no rhythm to it. No pattern I could follow. Each pulse seemed random, yet somehow deliberate, like someone tapping their fingers on a table while deep in thought. My watch showed midnight, when the star did something that made my breath catch. It split into 2 points of light. I blinked, pulled back, rubbed my eyes, looked again. Still 2 points. They orbited each other slowly, like a binary star system, except the movement was wrong, too smooth, too perfect, and they were getting closer together, spiraling inward until they merged back into a single point. I felt sick. Not from anything I could name. The room wasn't spinning. I wasn't nauseous. But something about watching that movement made my stomach clench, made my skin prickle with goosebumps. I wrote it all down in the notebook. Stars split into two around one, merged back together. Made me feel weird. The rest of the night passed slowly. The star pulsed a few more times, but didn't split again. At 5 in the morning, Peter arrived to take over the next shift. He looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes. "How was it?" he asked. "Weird," I said. "It split into two lights." Something flickered across his face. Fear, maybe. Or recognition. "Yeah, it does that sometimes." I wanted to ask him more, but he was already moving toward the telescope, dismissing me with his posture. I left, went to my assigned room, and collapsed on the bed. I should have fallen asleep immediately. I'd been up for almost 24 hours, but every time I closed my eyes, I saw that pulsing light, bright, dim, bright, dim. The second night, I arrived at the observation room at 9 to find Lisa standing outside the door. She was holding a cup of coffee, staring at nothing. "You're the new guy," she said. It wasn't a question. "Trevor." She looked at me for a long moment, then leaned in close. "Don't watch it for more than 4 hours at a time. Take breaks. Look away." "Why?" But she was already walking away, her coffee cup trembling slightly in her hand. I went inside, sat down, put my eye to the telescope. The star was moving, not across the sky the way stars should move as Earth rotates. This was different. It was moving toward us, growing larger in the telescope's view. Every few minutes, it was noticeably bigger, closer, like something falling through space directly at Earth. I radioed Crane immediately. "It's moving. The star is getting closer." "I know," he said calmly. "Keep watching." "Shouldn't we tell someone? If something's heading toward Earth." "It's not heading toward Earth, Trevor. Just keep watching." I didn't understand how he could be so calm, but I stayed at my post. As the star grew larger, I started to see details I hadn't noticed before. Its surface wasn't smooth. It had textures, swirls and currents, like a liquid, like watching cream mix into coffee. And sometimes, in those swirls, I thought I saw shapes, faces, hands. I couldn't be sure. Every time I focused on one, it dissolved back into the general movement. But the impression remained. Something was moving inside that star, or the star itself was made of movement, of things shifting and reorganizing. I forced myself to look away, checked the clock. Only 2 hours had passed. It felt like 6. When I looked back, the star had doubled in size again, close enough now that I could see individual currents on its surface, flowing in directions that didn't make sense, up and sideways at the same time, inward and outward. My eyes hurt trying to follow them. Then a thought hit me, clear and certain, as if someone had whispered it in my ear. "It knows I'm watching." I jerked back from the telescope, heart hammering. The thought had come from nowhere, from outside my own head. But I knew it was true. Whatever that thing was, it was aware of the telescope, aware of me on the other end. The rest of my shift was torture. I kept watching because that was my job, but every minute felt like the star was pressing closer, studying me the way I was studying it. By the time 5 in the morning arrived, my hands were shaking so badly I could barely write my observations in the notebook. I stumbled outside into the pre-dawn darkness and immediately knew where the star was in the sky. I didn't need to look up. I could feel it, like a weight pressing down from above, even though I couldn't see it with my naked eyes. That day, I couldn't sleep at all. On the third day, Dr. Crane finally told me the truth. He called me into his office, poured me a cup of tea I didn't want, and sat down across from me with the air of a man about to deliver bad news. "I owe you an explanation," he said, "about what you're observing." "That would be nice." He smiled thinly. In 1983, NASA launched a deep space probe. It was carrying the usual instruments, cameras, that sort of thing. But it was also carrying a message, a greeting to any intelligent life that might find it. Images of Earth, samples of our music, mathematical formulas, the things we thought might communicate who we are. I already didn't like where this was going. The probe disappeared in 1985, lost contact, presumed destroyed by a micrometeorite or some other collision. Completely normal. Happens all the time. He took off his glasses, cleaned them on his shirt. Then 6 months ago, that star appeared, right in the exact coordinates where the probe went missing. You think something found the probe. I think something heard us, Trevor. And it came. The tea was getting cold in my hands. I set it down. "What is it?" "We don't know. We call it a star because we don't have a better word. But it's not a star. We've pointed every telescope we have at those coordinates. Every single one shows something different. The Hubble sees nothing. Radio telescopes detect empty space. Infrared shows a cold void. Only this telescope, this specific telescope built in 1952, shows that. Why this telescope? We don't know that either. Maybe it's the age of the lenses. Maybe it's the specific combination of materials. Or maybe he put his glasses back on. Maybe it wants to be seen this way. Maybe it's choosing what to show us. I thought about the shapes I'd seen in the swirls, the faces, the hands. "Why do you need me specifically?" Crane's expression hardened. "Because the last 3 observers quit." The room suddenly felt colder. One is currently in a psychiatric facility in Oregon. One disappeared. We haven't heard from him in 2 months. And one is physically fine, but refuses to speak about what he saw. Won't even acknowledge the facility exists. He leaned forward. "I'm being honest with you, Trevor, because you deserve to know. This isn't a normal job. What you're observing isn't normal. But we need someone to watch it, to document its behavior. And you're trained for this." I should have quit right there. Should have walked out, driven back home, begged for my gift shop job back. But the money was good. The money was really good. And some part of me, the part that had spent 4 years studying the stars, wanted to know what I was really looking at. "I'll stay," I said. Crane looked relieved and sad at the same time. "Thank you." That night, the star filled the entire telescope view. I could see its surface clearly now, and it definitely wasn't fire or plasma or any kind of burning gas. It was movement, millions of tiny movements, all synchronized. like watching a massive flock of birds or a school of fish, all turning and diving in perfect unison. But the shapes were wrong. The angles hurt to look at. Things moved in directions that shouldn't exist, bent around corners that weren't there. And I started to understand that each tiny moving piece might be aware. Millions of consciousnesses, all moving as one. An intelligence so vast and alien that my brain couldn't process it except as movement and light. They were all looking back at me. I lasted 3 hours before I had to run outside and vomit in the bushes. After that night, I stopped sleeping entirely. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that surface, those movements, the sensation of being observed by something that saw me more clearly than I could ever see it. Peter stopped showing up for his shifts. I found out later he'd left in the middle of the night, didn't even pack his things. Lisa moved through the facility like a ghost, talking to herself in languages I didn't recognize. Gordon locked himself in his room and wouldn't come out. It was just me and Crane now. On the 5th night, everything changed. I sat down at the telescope at 9, like always. Put my eye to the lens. The star wasn't there. I panicked, adjusted the telescope, searched the surrounding sky. Nothing, just empty space. Then I realized it wasn't gone. It was everywhere. The star had spread across the entire night sky like an infection, like spilled ink on paper, but only through this telescope. I ran to one of the other instruments in the corner, a small refractor Crane used for basic observations. Through that lens, the sky looked normal. Stars in their proper places, no infection. The old telescope was showing me the truth. The star had never been in space. It had been seeping into our reality this whole time, using the act of observation as a doorway. Every night someone watched it, it learned more about our universe, about the rules here, about how to exist in our dimension. And it was getting stronger. I finally understood. We weren't monitoring the star was monitoring us, learning about humanity through the lens of the telescope, through the eyes of everyone who'd looked at it. I had to tell Crane, had to make him understand that we needed to destroy the telescope, break the connection before it was too late. I ran through the facility, shouting his name. His office was empty. So was the kitchen, the sleeping quarters. The entire facility was empty. I was alone. Then I found the locked room. It was down a hallway I'd never noticed before, even though I'd walked past this spot dozens of times. The door was heavy wood with a padlock that looked ancient. I didn't think. I just grabbed a fire extinguisher from the wall and smashed the lock open. Inside were journals, dozens of them, filling shelves from floor to ceiling. I grabbed the nearest one, flipped it open. The handwriting was shaky, barely legible. Day 47. The star is close enough to touch. I can feel it in my chest when I breathe. It's not a star, it's a door. And I'm going to open it. Another journal. Day 89. Told Crane I want to quit. He said I can't. Said I've already seen too much. He's right. It's in my head now. In my eyes. When I look at other people, I can see it looking back through them. A third. Day 12. It's beautiful. Why did I ever think it was scary? It's showing me things, places beyond our universe. I understand now. It needs us. Needs our eyes to anchor itself here. I'm honored to help. Every journal said the same thing eventually. Every observer went through the same progression. Fear, understanding, acceptance, and then the final entry. Always the same words. It's not a star, it's a door, and I'm going to open it. I heard footsteps behind me. Crane stood in the doorway, but his eyes were wrong. They reflected light they shouldn't reflect, glinting with colors that didn't exist in nature. "You're doing so well, Trevor," he said, and his voice sounded like it was coming from very far away. "Just one more night. That's all it needs. One more night of observation, and it'll be fully here, fully real." I ran, crashed through the facility, out the front door to my car. My hands shook so badly I could barely get the key in the ignition. But the engine started, and I drove. I drove for 12 hours straight, didn't stop until I was 3 states away. Pulled into a rest stop somewhere in Wyoming, hands cramping from gripping the wheel. I called Amy. She answered on the first ring. "Trevor? Oh my God. Where have you been? I've been trying to reach you for days." "I'm coming home," I said. My voice sounded strange to my own ears. "I'm sorry. You were right. I never should have taken that job." "Are you okay? You sound..." "I'm fine. I'll be fine. I just need to get home." Okay. Just drive safe. I love you. I love you too." I hung up and looked at the sky through my windshield. Every star looked normal, small, distant, unremarkable. I felt relief flood through me for the first time in days. Then I noticed the man at the rest stop. He was standing by the vending machines, looking up at the same sky, just staring. After a moment, he turned, and his eyes caught the light from the parking lot lamps. They glinted with colors that didn't exist in nature. I got back in my car and drove to the next town, stopped at a gas station. The attendant's eyes had that same reflection. So did the woman at the coffee shop, and the police officer I saw parked on the side of the highway. More every day. The star didn't need me to open the door. It had opened the door itself by being observed, by being believed in, by becoming real in the minds of everyone who looked at it through that telescope. And now it was spreading person to person, eye to eye, a contagion of awareness. Everyone who'd ever looked at the observatory's research, read the reports, seen the photographs, they were all infected now, all carrying a piece of that vast, incomprehensible intelligence behind their eyes. I made it home yesterday. Amy hugged me, said I looked terrible, insisted I sleep. But I can't sleep, because when I look in the mirror, I see something moving behind my own eyes, something patient and vast. I look too long. I know that now. It's in me, waiting to spread, waiting for the right moment to show itself to everyone I meet, everyone I look at, everyone who looks at me. I'm writing this as a warning, though I don't know if it matters anymore. Don't look at the stars too closely. Don't trust what you see through old telescopes. And if someone's eyes reflect light, they shouldn't. If you see colors that don't belong, run. Though I don't think running will help, because right now you're reading these words. You're thinking about the star, imagining it in your mind, giving it shape and form. And somewhere in a dimension we can't see, it's looking back at you. It's always been looking back.